rocked different states in Nigeria, Niger and Kano, and Oshu is stating that they might go on a protest soon. It seems other states will join, and this is due to the high cost of living, the economy. The common man cannot afford a common meal. Well, the Minister of Finance responded to this development, and Coordinating Minister, of course, Wale Edun, expressed concern over the continuous rise in the prices of food and other commodities, prompting protests in Niger and Kano. Mr. Edu spoke on this while addressing a meeting with a visiting German delegation in Abuja on Monday. He said the situation is driven by the forces of demand and supply. If we got money for every time we heard this. Residents of Mina in Niger State on Monday protested the high cost of living in the country, and Kano residents held a similar protest on Tuesday. Similarly, residents of Oshu State yesterday cried out over worsening hardship in the country, calling on President Bola Tinubu and governors to act fast in fixing the battered economy. They lamented that they could barely eat daily as the cost of food items has been rising daily, and I'm certain that a lot of people share this experience across different parts of the country. Now, they warned that citizens may be forced to hit the street in protests soon if nothing is done to bring succor. So they just cried out, right? They're saying if it goes beyond this crying out, we would mobilize and cry with a louder voice. So lots of people speaking about the harsh realities connected to this economy, the inability to put food on the table. And the presidency, of course, responded. Well, you heard the finance minister, but the first lady, Remi Tinubu, has assured Nigerians that the hard times being faced will soon be over with the right policies of the federal government. She gave the assurance during a meeting with wives of governors at the presidential villa in Abuja on Monday. She said 2024 is loaded with peace, progress, prosperity, and greater achievement to the advantage of all Nigerians. But I'm hoping we see that very soon. So the big question is, what policies are already in place? More importantly, what policies should the government consider to reduce the cost of living and improve the standard of living for the average Nigerian? My guest this morning is Tijah Bolton-Akpan. He's the Executive Director of Policy Alert. So you can tell he knows and speaks policy. Good morning, Mr. Tijah. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Sam. Nice to be here.
Yes, indeed. It is my pleasure. All right, straight to business. Explain it to me like I just came into the country. I don't understand how things work in Nigeria. Why is the cost of living why is the cost of living high right now?
Well, I like the way you put it. Okay, so whether you are in Nigeria or not, if you are Nigerian, the pangs of the current inflationary trend would be hitting you some way or the other. Okay. Nigerians depend a lot on transfers, and this has been one of the things that have actually been helping people to cope, right? When a few dollars are sent down and those dollars are converted into naira, that actually helps Nigerians to cope, especially given that the foreign exchange rate has been has been running in a very dramatic and very frightening manner, with the naira on the receiving end of the punches. But talking about the cost of living, why is this so? To be fair to the current administration, we both admit that President Tinubu inherited a comatose economy,
okay.
Right?
Okay.
But we can also say for certainty that between when Tinubu took over the reins of the economy and now, things have actually moved from terrible to, a sheer disaster. And that's where we are right now. For the reasons, you can say you put this on the inability of the fiscal and monetary policy managers to match the exchange rate in a way that leaves the naira, in a healthy position. You can also put that on the issue of insecurity Nigerians spend more than 50% of their income on food, right?
Yeah.
And if you look at the consumer price index, you can see that everything is weighted around food. And the cost of food items right now is just something that frightens the common Nigerian. We talked about food earlier. Before now, we used to have something like 101. But I'm afraid that if there is anything called the average Nigerian right now, they would be subsisting on maybe 010 or 0.5, because even the one might not really be one.
Wow.
The National Bureau of Statistics came up with something called the Cost of a Healthy Diet Index. That is one of their latest indicators late last year. And that cost is somewhere around 760 something naira, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
That's the cost of having a healthy diet in Nigeria. But you can be sure that if you have that money in your hands and walk into a food is ready, mama food joint by the street, you cannot actually have a healthy diet. So the insecurity has actually impacted very adversely on agricultural commodities. Farmers are unable to move their products from the farms to the market. Those who even want to grow plants, they are unable to actually work in the farms because of the crisis, the kidnapping, the banditry, and all that. So these issues of insecurity are actually playing out in ways that impact the economy adversely, and it's actually showing on the data tables of families across the country. You talked about protest. The protest is not just happening on the streets of Niger and those states you mentioned. The protests are actually happening right inside the living rooms of families in the country. So you hear families actually reading out the martial act, to family members to say, hey, things are no longer as it used to be.
Yes,
you cannot waste this, you cannot do this, and so on. So protest is happening at all levels. And it actually shows that something urgently, something drastic needs to be done.
Okay, thank you for that. So now that I have understood how things work in Nigeria, I can completely say I am Nigerian again. Now, Tijah, we throw the word policy around a lot, especially those in authority. They try to let us know that they are working on it, or they have done something, or they are following through. What policies would be required if we're talking in practical terms now, seeking solutions? What specific policies would be required to get us out of this situation, or at least to alleviate it? And it's a two-part question. If we do get those policies, how soon would we begin to see the results?
Yes, let me begin by sounding the administration.
Oh my. Okay. Should I blame that on the government? Well, as you can tell, hearing that tone means that we lost our call. I'm going to try to reconnect with my guest, Mr. Tijah, because this is the important part of the conversation, the solution part. But while I'm doing that, I'd like to hear from you. 0817-923-0002. The question for you is, do you have confidence in the government's capacity to reduce the cost of living? Because the government has said, the presidency has said it's going to be okay. The First Lady has said that there are better times ahead for Nigerians. Everyone who is someone has said that we should just, be a bit patient. There's no need for all of these protests. It will get better. So do you have confidence in the government's capacity to reduce the cost of living? Secondly, how are you affected by this high cost of living? I know that it bites differently for different people. Some may have resorted to 101, as they say. Others might be doing, 010. Are you fasting completely? How does it hit you? I had very serious plans about shedding weight this year. I did not hope that I would get there thanks to the economy. I wanted to do it myself because I can. But if you have been pushed to, to get to this point, it might be problematic. Okay, I think I've reconnected with my guest. Hello?
Yes, hello, I'm back here.
Yes, thank you, thank you. I will not blame government for that. Thank you very much. Welcome back. So we have about 3 minutes to the commercial break. That means I would need to keep you after the break. So very quickly, the policies.
Well, yeah, when this administration came in, they put in place a committee for the reform of fiscal and tax policy.
Okay.
And I found that quite innovative and forward-looking because one of the biggest areas of reform, apart from dealing with the monetary side of things, is to look at the fiscals. Nigeria has been, a very profligate country. We waste a lot.
Okay.
Cost of governance has been incredibly high, and the performance of the revenue side of the budget has actually not been very good. We've been running at the average around, probably somewhere around 70% of the total budget, and these things really need to improve. When you improve taxes, when you improve fiscal policies, it can have a catalytic effect on the way the economy responds. Issues like power supply, there has to be very drastic, policy responses in that regard. Over 8% of the jobs and over 96% of businesses in Nigeria are in the MSME sector, right? What that means is that if you are able to provide the key resource that these businesses require, one of which is power to, drive their businesses, then you would have catalyzed a whole lot of other, dimensions of the economy. So that also has to be addressed.
Okay.
The issue of, I just talked about the cost of governance, right?
Yeah.
So that has been clear. The issue of the ordinary Nigerian, the middle class has been wiped out. So we just have the haves and the have-nots. Now, that actually indicates a need to direct energies into the social sector. We have 130 plus million plus Nigerians who are multidimensionally poor. What that means is that these categories require targeted programs, that will lift them out of poverty. Unfortunately, the 2024 federal budget actually reduced capital spending to sectors such as health, to sectors such as water, sanitation, and hygiene, to sectors such as poverty reduction and humanitarian intervention.
All right, Mr. Tijah, I apologize, but I will have to stop you there. We have a break coming up in a few seconds. I know that I have to let you go, but after the break, I have just one question, and hopefully we wrap it up. Thank you.
Nigeria Info. We'll be right back.
Waiting the
It still is Morning Crossfire. I'm Sam Oracle Chinedu. We're talking about the economy. It's protests to rock Niger and Kano over high cost of living, and it seems like the protest is loading in other parts of the country. I still have my guest, Tijah Bolton-Akpan, the Executive Director of Policy Alerts, on the phone. You're welcome once again, Mr. Tijah.
Thank you, Sam.
All right. So you read out a few policies. I don't know if you're done with your list, but you said reduce the cost of governance, provide constant power supply, provide employment and resources, and direct energies into the social sector. That was the last point you made before the break. So do you?
Yeah. I said so.
Okay. So if these are implemented as soon as this morning, and I'm sure some of them are already on ground, how soon would Nigerians feel the impact of these policies?
Yeah, I mean, that list was by no means exhaustive. We had discussed earlier about the issue of insecurity. That's not something that can be addressed with a knee-jerk intervention.
Yeah.
It will have to be some kind of sustained and really deep-going solution that needs to be targeted at that issue.
Okay.
However, none of these things will need to be treated as a silver bullet. The solutions do not come overnight. At the risk of sounding like the administrators of the economy, they are working on it, and before long, Nigerians will begin to see the effects of the interventions in these sectors. However, I also really say that some very quick win interventions need to be targeted at the poorest of the poor. Nigerians felt in the quality and quantity of palliatives that were rolled out recently by the Tinubu administration. It did not go wide enough. It was mostly perceived as being politically distributed, and in terms of quality and quantity, it did not actually make a dent on the scale of the problem that Nigerians have. So there should be a rethink of the social intervention, and some kind of quicker wins should be pushed to people. However, it's also important to address this level, looking at issues related to stabilizing the has actually been taken a very blue and black beating, from the comparative currency, which is the dollar, and that is not something that's helping Nigerians at all. So that has to be addressed. The role of the CBN should be focused more on the fiscal and monetary policy, and the development role of the CBN should actually be minimized. The central bank is having more, concentrating more on actually doling out development interventions into the economy, anchor borrowers, loans for different sectors like gas and so on. There should be a more structured way of getting those resources through the commercial banking system, different sectors, rather than running so it appears that the CBN is being distracted from its core mandate. Then I would also like to say that the coordination at the wider level across MPAs, that should be taken more seriously. It appears that we are having the government operating in silos. So the Ministry of Agriculture is doing its intervention, and it's not linking to what water resources is doing, and it's not linking to what humanitarian is doing.
All right.
Once that coordination happens, we can have it's easier for policies to make an impact on the ordinary citizens.
Okay, so the need for synergy. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Tijah, for sparing your time. We truly appreciate it. I'm hoping we have other opportunities.
Thank you so much for having me.
Opportunities to talk for development. Have a wonderful day, sir. Well, I would have wanted him to stay to the end of the show, but he gave us a bit of his time because he has other things to get to. Well, this is where you get to be a part of the conversation. There are so many things to discuss. I'm interested in the body language of government, of the authorities. because the presidency has spoken against the situation, spoken against the opposition and the positions they hold. But I'm concerned about the cost of a bag of rice, because that's where it affects me. Somebody called this morning to say a bag of rice costs 70,000 naira. I'm hoping that's not true, even though there's a part of me that believes it is. And why? Is because I'm looking to buy a bag of rice. Would I be willing to spare 70k? Oh my. Well, call me and tell me. The questions for you are: do you have confidence in the government's capacity to reduce the cost of living? They've said they are working on it, and they'll get there sooner rather than later. Secondly, how are you affected by the high cost? How much are things at your end? Is it easy or difficult for you? Are you a big boy or like me, a small boy? Muriel calls from Africa. Good morning, Muriel.
Yeah, thank you, Sam.
Good morning.
Yeah, Sam, you see, there's this word that goes around. They say a hungry man
is an angry man.
Angry man. The hungry man is an hungry.
Yes,
no matter how strong the man is hungry, trust me, he will not laugh. Now, on the news, we heard that the federal government is even lamenting the high cost of food in the market. They are lamenting it for. In other words, when they lament like this, it's as if they don't still have a clue of how to solve this problem. And it's even in the news, they are blaming opposition. They are even seeing it as politics. Like the protest going on is being influenced by the opposition. It's so funny and so annoying.
Yeah.
And I don't know if when they begin to see children fall on the street out of pachok or malnourishment, that's when it will get to them that this is serious. A bag of rice in the market now is 76,000 naira.
Oh no! Oh, Miriam, no! Don't do that, please.
A bag of rice is 76,000 naira.
You should reduce it.
Anybody now?
Oh my!
That is a huge statement. Later, what's probably after now? The street of now, if I'm buying. I'm pricing. Look, Sam, that it is so annoying, and there is only one thing I have to say. I will say the federal government has refused to manage, shame, and prosecute those that are sponsoring terrorism in the country. We continue to experience this kind of hardship, this kind of high rise in the cost of prices. I believe insecurity is the number one factor affecting food prices. Sam, do you know how many rice farmers they kill in this country? And what effort is the federal government doing to make sure that they recruit, bring these rice farmers, and ensure them that they will protect them?
All right, Muriel. So let's head. Muriel, listen. Hello, Muriel. Hello. Let's have a conversation very quickly. I need you to answer this as briefly as possible. Do you have confidence in the government's ability to reverse this trend?
Absolutely not. As long as they begin to trivialize and politicize insecurity, it will even increase. In fact, look, Nigeria, we should begin to press on to everything to begin to protect.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Muriel. So she does not have faith and hope in the government. She's a woman, so when she says bag of rice is 75k, I'm more inclined to believing her. George from Buguma. Good morning, George.
Yeah, Oracle, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Happy welcome.
Yes.
It's been a long time.
It has indeed.
Happy New Year to you. You are back. Thank you.
Let's not get too excited.
Oracle,
go ahead.
I do not have confidence in ability of this current government to restore normalcy in the crashing economy of this country. Because you see that as long as we keep having leaders who will always travel out of the country when fire is burning in their country, they would rather travel to Paris, travel to different parts of the spending our hard-earned money. I think as long as we continue to have these leaders who will come out in the face of every challenging situation, what they will tell us is only give us some time. We will restore what is the abnormal situation. Give them some time. How long the common man, the poor man will continue to give them time that in the midst of this time that you give them, nothing is good is coming forth.
Hello, George. Let me ask you.
The confidence.
Hello, George. George. Hello. Oh my goodness, what is going on, George? Let us have a conversation. Now, you said the leader traveled. Yes, the leader traveled. According to you, while fire was burning the country. You know, sometimes these trips, right? What if the leader went to get fire extinguisher from that country? You know, sometimes they go for meetings and get ideas on how to put out the fire. What if that was the case?
Like I told you, Oracle, that in time past, we have given them this opportunity when they say all these things, and they come back and the situation still continues. In this country, since the era of PDP till now, have you seen the Northerners go on the street to protest over hardship or crushing economy?
Yes.
For the fact that this thing has gone to the northern part of this country, tell you and me that, my brother, the situation is like a white fire burning.
All right, thank you very much, George. Yes, there have been protests that affected the north. Let's not make it seem... Well, this is heavy, but, you know, the point you're making, it doesn't quite correspond. Ibiso from Odili Road, good morning.
Yes, sir, good morning.
Good morning. Please go ahead.
The way things are going now in the country, to me, if the old 36 states are protesting, I will join them. Because your guy was giving you some key points. The government now, look at light. In your station this morning, women are protesting. You will cook their soup with gas power. Where you cook with which amount of money. And now you waste that one. Where is the money going to go and cook another pot of soup, brother? Sam. Now, if you can give power, at least this, everybody is doing business in survive today.
Yeah.
Now the government should have announced the real sector very well. Now you're talking of insecurity. If the service chief cannot do what they're supposed to do, you start them and do that with war, because most of them bring food from the north. They cannot pass because of these criminals, let me call them criminals. And now you're coming from Medigri to River State. After dealing with Boko Haram, terrorists, you still deal with police. I will take money from you. Before you buy, if you buy something of 10,000 naira, by the time you get to River State here, you spend maybe 30,000 naira, and that is increased. And if you approach the rail sector, no product, bring this down to where you sell it.
All right, Ibiso. So I have to take other calls. Ibiso, very quickly, do you have confidence? Hello. Do you have confidence that the government will solve these problems?
Sam, the confidence is 70-30.
Okay. And which one is 70?
They should reduce the cost of governance. The senators, how much are they taking? How much are they using to innovate their annual chamber?
All right, Ibiso, thank you very much. So not a lot of confidence to spare. JJ from PH Town, good morning.
Sam, good morning.
Good morning.
I don't know if you're a fan of Indian scene. If not, I would have answered all your question with song this morning.
Oh my goodness.
Starting from Maurice Willigan, I hear them told that better days are coming on soon, and I ask them, is it when I am gone? See, Sam, do you know what it means for Niger people to protest food hardship or whatever, or food high cost of living? I've not been to Niger before, but I was told that if you go to those areas, if you buy suya of 1,000 naira, now one full village you go shop am here.
Haba. Yes, food is cheaper, but take it easy now. It never is like that.
1,000 naira suya, one full village.
Yes.
We will eat it here.
You will get a better deal.
Are the ones that, Sam, have you gone to the market in recent time? You point out like this to something, your hand go the wither. And you're telling me, we'll do this, we'll do that. Have you solved the kidnapping issue? In the broad daylight here, over 34 farmers, rice farmers, were slaughtered. Where are those that killed the farmers? Where are they today? In Ozekbolo, people enter church, kill people in Ota, and so many areas. Have you solved those security problems? So, as far as I'm concerned, the government needs to roll off his sleeve right now and create confidence in the people. That people who are supposed to be farming now cannot even leave their houses to go farm. And you're telling me, Sam,
thank you, JJ.
People need to come out and see what people are passing through on the streets.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for that. Well, the president has called for an emergency meeting. On Tuesday night, he returned to Nigeria after a 2-week visit to Paris, and he was received by top officials. Getting to the point where he called for that meeting. Okay, yes, he ordered an emergency meeting on food security. So we're hoping that, well, that meeting meets us at a good place. Robin calls from HA. Good morning, Robin.
Good morning, the Oracle himself.
Good morning.
I have no confidence.
Wow.
Greeting to our guest in the studio. You had him chronicled. When President Bola Tinubu took over government, he said he's going to hit the ground running.
That's right.
Did you hear him say so?
Yes, I did hear him say that.
Unknowingly to Nigerians, including myself, that he hit the high ground running is running from one pillar to post. What did he go to do in France for 14 days?
Oh my goodness, it's a private visit. That's what they said.
Oracle, I have told you, and I've said for up to 10 times that if I am the president of Nigeria, I don't need to travel to anywhere. I will sit in a sort of there, put together a consortium of professionals, put the country in order. Other countries will hear it, they will see it, and they will begin to come. How do you go to the country and ask them to come and invest in your country, where people are being slaughtered every day? Every day people are slaughtered. You are not doing anything. You are not thinking about to change the laws, to execute the problem as it were. Because every special problem has a special solution to it. You're running from here and there. To come to think of it, the wife is one who is going to tell Nigerians to endure. Better days are coming. How much was dollar when he took over government? He said it was my turn. He said so. It's your turn. What is the policy towards to recover the economic situation and just finding themselves? Every day things are getting cost every day. And you're telling us we should endure. While you are riding SUVs, you are eating free food. Everything free, we should endure. There's no hope.
No, there is hope, Robin.
Renewed hope. There's no hope.
There is hope. Robin, I get your frustration, but it's not a hopeless situation. Ida calls from Nkoro. Good morning.
Yeah, Oracle, thank you very much.
Good morning.
Oracle, I have to ask a question. If I'm ruling and I make mistake, and you come back, will you do that same mistake? You will not do. Bola Tinubu told us that he wants to take Nigeria to the promised land. They're going backwards. Yeah, I don't believe them. I don't believe him. If Nigeria wins South Africa today, I will know that things will get better. But if Nigeria lose today, I know that things will get worse. I believe that Nigeria will win. Okay. My brother, people are dying in hungry. Come to the market. I'm pleading with them to bring the price of fuel down, and every poverty will end in Nigeria. I see drivers are suffering. They will buy fuel for Susu and man, and the meters is not good. They will buy fuel for Susu and man, and now increase the price on our head. I'm going to go and I'll pay 3,000 naira. Something I'm paying 1,000 naira before. Bola Tinubu, those are, Nigerians are dying, Thank you very much. God bless you. That from Nkoro.
Okay, Ida, thank you very much. You're staking Nigeria's future to a 90-minute game. That's interesting. Well, the Super Eagles, I hope you heard Ida. I doubt you did, but I'm here to let you know that there's a lot hanging on this game beyond bragging rights and winning a trophy. Ida says if we win today, that means our country will be better. So please, Osime, you have officially become a government official, a leader, a lifesaver. You're not just a striker, but you have in your power the ability to change this country. Now, we're live on Facebook and Twitter, so let me take comments from those platforms. Remember, I'm asking, How is it biting you? How are you affected by the economic reality? And do you have confidence in the government's capability to fix our problems? Ogu Justin says, the way our economy is now, it looks as if, okay, he doesn't have faith in those that are in charge. I'm rephrasing now. Just as there are better ways to express that point. And I'm hoping moving forward you can. Chile Edwin says, Nigerians are very funny, always entertaining themselves with frivolities. I'm wondering how we are more concerned about the North than we are about fighting to separate from and not the building capacity to be sufficient and providing food for ourselves. Okay, yeah, so sufficiency. Who else is there? Christopher says, surely the government will say give us time. But this was how we gave the former president Buhari time for 8 years. See where we are. The government will always ask citizens for time, but they will always be in a haste to increase their allowances. God help Nigeria, he says. Chima calls from Ada George. Good morning, Chima.
Good morning, Mr. Sam.
Good morning.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mr. Sam, you asked a question.
Yes, indeed.
I think for me, with the explanations and blaming game that I'm hearing from the presidency, I think I don't have confidence.
Oh, man.
I don't. Because as a government, when people complain, just like the statement Atiku made, Bayo Nanoga was quickly to attack him without demystifying what the government is doing. That's what the people want to hear. How far has the government gone? So that we know that, okay, our hope is hanging. Maybe when that time you have given us. But rather, they are turned into attack dogs. You understand? And these are people who live within the confines of Asoro. They don't know what life is outside Asoro. Everything they use free. Free fuel, free meal, everything. And people complain, you attack them without telling them what they want to hear. So for me, I don't have confidence. And it's biting hard, Sam. I just saw children here who are dragging biscuits. And when you look at them, you know that they are hungry.
Oh, my.
They are dragging biscuits. You understand? Fighting each other. Things are hard, honestly.
Okay.
Honestly.
Thank you very much, Chima. That paints quite the picture. And my final call is from Omo, calling from Uniport. Good morning, Omo.
Oracle, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, I would say I have hope in the country if they can bring the cost of fuel down.
Okay.
And we talk about the security, if they can fight the security. Because one, what we're talking about the farmer, where the rice is coming from, a big key every day. And when you talk about fish, from the water side, they are big key every day. And just go to buy meat, like cow and rest of it. How would you go? Because they use transport to bring them. So the only thing that can bring hope in this country is when we settle all this, the fuel and the security issue. That is the only way we can have hope. If not, with this government, we have no hope. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much, Omo. Omo says there has to be some visible change so that people can have faith in the system. I have a few comments on WhatsApp, which I'll be taking very quickly. Ogu Justice says the practical steps to get out of this economic quagmire: refineries should come on board as fast as possible. Medical tourism should be banned. Students schooling abroad should be restricted to only courses not offered here. Government should invest heavily in agriculture by revamping ADPs, agricultural development programs across the country. Ajaokuta Steel and other dilapidated companies should be revived. SMS should be given more attention. SMEs, I think you mean. Salary increase should be put on hold, while stringent major steps on repositioning the economy could be achieved. All right, and this one says, while the protest against an all-time economic hardship is going on, Wale Edu, the minister, stated that the economy is far better now than how the president met it in May on the takeover. We pray that the current economic reality... Okay, I get the point. Thank you for that. I'll just not take that line from your message. As long as this present government is involved, any single confidence in them, because they have run out of ideas. Bag of rice, 75k. This thing is hitting me in my chest somehow. Wait for today's price. What do you mean today's price? Is this not today's price? Oh, that's yesterday. Okay. Okay. Oh, yeah. Twice the drug I used to buy for 10K for a card is now selling for 40K. And I have to use the drug every day according to recommendation. Almost everything you buy today, if you go 1 week, it would have added price. The government does not have any solution to the problems. What will we do? Well, for solutions, my guest, so that we can remember what was recommended, says what the government must do is reduce costs of governance, address the insecurity, provide constant power supply, provide employment and resources, and direct energies into the social sector. That's what needs to happen now. But I'm hoping, just as much as you are, that we come to a place where we are proud Nigerians and we fought food on our table to a platforms. What comes up next?
The show continues after this break on Nigeria Info.